Hey and welcome, hey and welcome to another episode of Rankum. It's going to be a fun one today. Continue a trend from what when we did last time when we did decade-defining actors. We're switching up to the other side, going actresses of the 2000s. I got a great panel here. I've got Richard Schwartz. Richard, how's it going?
It's going good. I'm excited to be here once again. I was here for the defining actors of 2000, so I thought if it's only fair that I should be here for the defining females actresses of the 2000s. I'm excited to hear everyone's choices and mine as well.
You're excited to hear your own?
Yes, I am. I like to hear myself talk. I'm not gonna lie.
Why else are we not here? I mean,
but I've also got my manager from the fan leagues here, Alex Mack. Alex, how's it going?
I'm spiffy and definitely prepared for this. Just want to reaffirm that. Totally prepared. Not excited to argue or anything.
And last but not least, we've got Ryan. Ryan, how's it going?
pretty well, Malcolm. I made sure this time that I was on time. Unlike the last time where I showed up when you guys were four people, when you were four numbers in. So, and also it's weird. Richard and I, again, on another Rankum list where we're talking about actors. I mean, Malcolm, do you hate me, or do you just like seeing Richard and I fight each other?
I'll neither confirm nor deny. but honestly, I like everyone. It's just, but yeah, how this works is with four people, the person nominating, they'll say the figure. It's down to everyone else whether they make the list. But yeah, and so with that, we'll let's start. I'm going to start with Ryan first.
Okay. Well, this was, look, it was very easy for me to find actors, so I decided for just off the top, just to throw one out there, someone who pretty much we watched, grew up during the 2000s, who's now a more like very solid actress, and the first actress I'm going to nominate is Dakota Fanning. Like I said, we all grew up watching her from. Seeing her in movies like I Am Sam, or one of my personal favorite movies, Man on Fire, and then she just keeps moving. Also, she was in War of the Worlds, and I'm gonna say she was around a lot in the 2000s. Rather, if you saw her in a small like cameo role or uncredited, I mean, the moment you saw Dakota Fanning on screen, she captured your attention. So that is my first pick.
Alex, what do you say about Dakota Fanning?
Great choice. Not the correct choice of which Fanning sibling, but I feel you.
Well, the other one didn't show up in the 2000s.
So was that a yes to Dakota being on the list, Alex, or?
Yeah, I really enjoy her. Absolutely.
Yeah, that's okay. I was just making sure. Richard, what do you say about Dakota Fanning?
It's funny, I didn't actually have her on my list, and then I just thought about it real quick, and yeah, she was kind of the children actress of the 2000s. So it's a yes for me. She was in, like, when you think of a child actress of the 2000s, it was Dakota Fanning. So I agree, she should be on it.
Yeah, this is also one I actually didn't think of, but like just looking at her list, she's definitely deserved of being on this list. Like, War of the Worlds really showed off her chops, as it is. In she went on. She even her first Twilight movie that she was in, she was actually pretty good in too. I mean, but yeah.
And also, she was in Coraline, which was definitely the late 2000s, which is a great movie.
Yeah, but Dakota Fanning is the first one to make the list.
Wait, is this supposed to be 2000s? I thought it was supposed to be the 2010s. I misunderstood this.
2000.
2000.
Oh, dang. I put together my list incorrectly then. Oh, schnecky. Well, that's awkward. That's awkward.
Oh, no, trust me, Alex, when we did actors, I had at least 7 actresses on my list before they told me, oh, no, we're just doing the guys. I'm like, God. come on.
I'll go to you last to give you a chance to recompose yourself there, Alex. Richard, what do you what is your first nomination?
My first nomination, I was thinking like who else, like who had memorable roles, who also was kind of big in the 2000s, and I chose someone who had 2 franchises going during the 2000s, and my first choice is Cameron Diaz. You have the Shrek franchise as Fiona. You have the Charlie's Angels franchise 1 and 2 Full Throttle. You also go Chicago. Was definitely a definitely good one on there. Vanilla Sky. She was in Slackers. My Gangs of New York. The Holiday. My Sister's Keeper. She was in a lot of good, not necessarily like a lot of good films, a lot of okay films. But when you think of 2000s, I think Cameron Diaz would be a good choice to put in there.
But yeah, Cameron Diaz is on the table. This is one that I didn't think about myself, but I do think that it does fit. Was good because I mean, is definitely a lot of good there. So I'm going to say yes to Cameron Diaz. Ryan, what do you say about Cameron Diaz?
I actually had Cameron Diaz on my list, but she was more of an honorable mention because for me, the decade that defined Cameron Diaz was the 90s, personally, in my opinion, the movies that she had out there. So I'm going to have to say no on this one because, yeah, she was in some franchises, yeah, but her career was starting to wind down a bit in the 2000s, and the 90s is when she was really starting to soar, reach out there where to find her.
Yeah, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Go on, Alex.
Is this distracting? Me looking like this at all?
No.
Not at all? No? In that case,
No.
well, let's start over then. I would have to say...
I mean, you're talking...
Oh,
no, go ahead. I was just saying, like, if I do this, if I do that, and like people are gonna find it distracting, so you're good.
It's all strategy. I'm telling you, that's all it is. I would have to 100% agree with you, Ryan. I don't think it's her most iconic. A lot of her most iconic movies aren't even in the 2000s. I feel like they're more in the 90s. She does have a handful of really good movies, such as Minority Report, In Her Shoes, The Holiday. And her involvement in the Shrek movies, but I don't think she is like the big like calling card to most of the movies that she's in. Aside from in Shrek, I feel like she's pretty involved, but her face isn't even in it. So I don't feel like her most iconic roles are even, in the 2000s personally. Although she is involved with quite a few, movies. At the same time, her most iconic movies are in at the time. So I vote no.
And that's all good. Cameron Diaz is the first one to go. Alex, I'll go to you next.
I wanted to go in the direction of a younger actress as well. And so after hearing you mention Dakota Fanning, I was like, who is another huge female star that really came to terms with herself and her abilities in the 2000s. So she is one of the youngest nominated Oscar nominated actresses. Her name is Saoirse Ronan. So not to brag, but I feel like I definitely have the superior pick here when it comes to the actresses at the time. She, especially in the 2000s, she was nominated for Atonement, directed by Joe Wright. And she was involved with, quite a few movies that were like really big at the time. She was involved in a Studio Ghibli movie. She was involved with The Lovely Bones. She did City of Embers. They definitely tried to go that route with her. But, as far as one of the most talked about actresses at the time, not only on the awards circuit, but just in general. I mean, I think my brother knows who she is, and he doesn't even care about actors and actresses. So, I definitely kind of really says, just how memorable she is, in spite of, how young she is as well.
Yeah. Richard, what do you say about Saoirse Ronan? You're muted.
Yeah. I honestly don't know who she is.
Saoirse Ronan, Atonement. She was in Brooklyn.
She was the Lovely Bones, directed by Peter Jackson. She was in the movie, the film version of Hannah before it became a TV show. She's in the most recent movie, Little Women, directed by Greta Gerwig.
Okay, I'm honestly just gonna say no, just because I right now I just can't think of the top of the head, and
she's the lead of Lady Bird. She's the lead actress in the movie Lady Bird.
Yeah, but like I'm just saying, like right now, since I don't personally know who she is, I gotta say no. Just like she's not like, if I think of an actress not popping 2000s, if I can't picture her, that's a problem. But like again, that's just my vote.
That's a very fair argument. Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah, I love Saoirse Ronan. This is one that I say no to, just because in looking at her filmography, I think that she probably more defined the 2010s, just because she came into that latter half of the 2000s, and like
I found who you're talking about now.
There.
Yeah,
I
like
kind of agree with I agree with
Yeah.
Malcolm. She's way more 2010s than 2000s.
But Ryan, what would you have said about Saoirse?
I would have, when Alice said she thought of another young actress nominated in the 2000s, I didn't consider Saoirse Ronan, because she was an honorable mention as well, because I looked at her filmography. She was getting started like really late in the 2000s. Now, yeah, it was a strong start, yeah, but if I wanted to eclipse the 2000s as a whole, I couldn't put her on the list.
I also, if that's the argument, I consider her much more active in the 2000s, much more than Dakota Fanning, though. That's the thing. Significantly more, though. But
you know what? Yeah, I wouldn't blame her too, and maybe some of her picks we might bring up, we might have the same arguments as well. So
yeah,
I may eat those words later on.
But yeah, for my first pick, I'm going to bring up Scarlett Johansson. Like, she got her start really late in the 90s, but 2000s really hit her stride. Like, she was in The Other Bowling Girl with Natalie Portman. She was in Scoop, Ghost World, Eight-Legged Freak, School of a Pearl Earring, the SpongeBob SquarePants movie. Like, she was been in a lot in the 2000s, and I believe she was nominated for a few awards for Girl with Pearl Earring and The Other Bowling Girl around. I don't know if it was so much Oscars, but she was nominated for something around there. But
Lost in Translation. Is that where you?
Yeah, I think Lost in Translation as well.
Yeah,
Lost in Translation was there as well. Yeah, I was trying not to sort of read what just go down the whole list of movies and read everything off. But yeah, I think Scarlett Johansson does. Because this is kind of where she got catapulted. Like, there is an argument for the 2010s,
I do want to clarify, she wasn't nominated for any of those films. She wasn't personally. She did.
She got Golden Globe nominations. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I guess.
I think that's what Malcolm was trying to find. Yeah.
Yeah.
She was
that's what's meaning. Like, I wasn't trying to. I wasn't specifying Oscars exactly when I said award, but yeah. But yeah, Ryan, what do you say about Scarlett Johansson?
She's actually on my list, and I would say yes to Scarlett too, because I got introduced to her in Lost in Translation, and I didn't care what movie she was in. If she was in it, I was going to watch it because she impressed me as much. And then looking back, seeing her child actor career, I go, oh, I've seen that too. I didn't recognize her. So, but even with the movies you listed down, she was going back and forth. She did critically acclaimed movies, and then she did like the popular one, like with SpongeBob SquarePants. So 2000s is where she was really building herself as an actress. So I will say yes.
Alex, what do you say about Scarlett Johansson?
She was definitely building herself as an actress, yes, but I vote no, just because I can only look at the movies and be like, I can only think of a handful of movies where she's actually like playing a pivotal role with them. Like I can't say that she's the reason why SpongeBob SquarePants movie is a huge success. She was involved with The Perfect Score, Black Dahlia, but she's not even on the cover of those movies. The Island, that's a fun time. But a lot of those movies are very forgettable. Lost in Translation and Girl with Pearl Earring, I feel like are definitely the best ones. But those are like 2 out of like the 10 movies, honestly. And Girl with the other Boleyn Girl, I don't feel like it's a very good movie. So I think out of like the 15 movies that came out that decade, I think her being involved with only 2 that are like really good. Like
she was all in The Prestige, but
no, absolutely. But that could have been played by anyone. And I honestly don't even. And I think the other female character in The Prestige is actually far superior.
Yep, then that's totally fair. Richard, what do you say about Scarlett? It's all on you.
See, I have her on my list, but at the same time, Alex makes some good points. Whereas I feel like, even though she was in quite a few movies, I loved her in The Perfect Score, which I believe she had a very good role in that. And I'm thinking like, if you're looking more at our kind of roles, what she is now, if you're looking back at Scarlett Johansson, it's the 2010s now, because her role obviously is Black Widow, her performance in Jojo Rabbit, The Marriage Proposal. I think her career is now being more focused or memorable now in the 2010s than it is now the 2000s. So I'm saying a slight no, but like that was a really tough choice for me to go.
Yeah.
Yep. Which means Wine, we go back to you.
Okay, well, I'm just gonna cut to the chase. The next actress I picked is Kate Blanchett. She was a part of a couple of high-profile like franchises like The Lord of the Rings. But then you look back, she was also a very talented actress, as she was in both the Elizabeth movies, the Elizabeth and Elizabeth the Golden Age. And then she also was in movies like Babel. She was also a part of The Missing, The Life Aquatic with Steve Zissou. She was always very noteworthy. The moment she was on screen, she made you recognize her through her performances, through her subtle acting choices, and also, not to mention, I'm Not There, an entire ensemble movie of people taking on different iterations of Bob Dylan. She has the best one in my opinion in that movie. She overshadows Heath Ledger and Christian Bale, who also did great performances of Bob Dylan. I will nominate Kate Blanchett.
Alex, what do you say about Kate Blanchett?
So a lot of the movies that you mentioned, I feel like they're like Elizabeth, for example, that came out in like 97 or 98. So that's more of a 90s movie. And I do know that, and I do know like a lot of the movies that you mentioned, I feel like they're fantastic movies. I love a lot of those movies. She honestly, I think she plays a very pivotal role in all of them. Like you said, Babel, The Aviator, I'm Not There. I'm not a huge fan of I'm Not There, but she's fantastic in that movie. Benjamin Button. I do feel like, she definitely is one of the better actresses for this category. Absolutely. You know what? I vote yes. Mostly because she's also an uncredited role in the movie Hot Fuzz as well. So,
Yeah, she is.
Richard, what do you say about Kate Blanchett?
Kate Blanchett, she has 2 standout performances, Galadriel and Queen Elizabeth. Those are the 2. Those 2 performances alone is going to be why I'm saying yes, because those are just 2 portrayals that people still talk about today. Her performance as Galadriel and her performance as Queen Elizabeth. So it's a yes for me.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And I mean, this is one that I'm saying yes. Lord of the Rings aside, she is in a lot of great stuff that in the 2000s, and I mean, part of the other reason, I was going to say yes anyway, was she had 4 Oscar nominations in this decade alone. But she won for The Aviator, and she was also nominated for Notes on a Scandal, Elizabeth the Golden Age, and I'm Not There. So I mean, so Kate Blanchett makes the list. Richard, we go back to you.
My next nomination is actually one I consider a very underrated actress, and she's been in quite a good film movies in the 2000s. But there were two movies in particular that are still talked about heavenly throughout even today, and that is Rachel McAdams, The Notebook, Mean Girls, Hot Chick, Red Eye.
Oh,
I mean, Mean Girls and Notebook alone. And then she was in The Wedding Crusher. She was Irene Adler in the Sherlock Holmes, which the first one, because it was 2009, which works. Married Life, The Lucky Ones. I mean, I just think she should be on this list alone just for Mean Girls and freaking The Notebook, the two movies that people are still talked about today. So that is my nomination, Rachel McAdams.
Rachel McAdams. This is one I actually didn't think of. And I mean, don't have anything bad to say. I'm going to say yes because I think, like, just looking at what she did in the 2000s alone, like, especially getting to that near end of it, she's definitely good. And I mean, in a lot of that, and she literally started in the 2000s. So I mean, she definitely is one that hit her stride really quickly. Ryan, what do you say about Rachel McAdams?
I have to be a little careful here because I said no earlier to Social Ronin because she had her start late, and so I don't want to eat my words. But Rachel McAdams, she was actually one of the first three actresses I immediately wrote down on my list, and not just basically on her performance alone in Red Eye and The Notebook and Mean Girls, but also, I mean, the comedy Wedding Crashers. To me, that movie would have been completely stupid if Rachel McAdams wasn't in my, because I've seen that movie a lot, and Rachel McAdams, she grounds it as that love interest there. She keeps it from going too off the rails there with her back and forth with Owen Wilson. And also, one movie that she did in the 2009s that was slightly overlooked, The Time Traveler's Wife. I remember watching that movie, not understanding what this was going to be about, and I loved the idea of her character being someone who falls in love with a man who can't control, who has this ability to travel through time. So it works as it's kind of. So I like how she is. We as the audience are experiencing her emotions, her struggles, living with a man traveling through time. So and also not just from the movies you mentioned, but yeah, she made her bones in the 2000s. She honestly, yeah, she like hit her peak in the 2000s personally in my mind. So I will give a yes to Rachel McAdams.
Rachel McAdams made lists. Alex, what would you have said?
I feel very conflicted. Rachel McAdams, I think, is she's fantastic. But that being said, she is fantastic in Mean Girls. I feel like she's like the best part of Mean Girls. I love that movie. Not only that, Time Traveler's Wife. I mean, she was in Morning Glory. I love that. Sherlock Holmes is fantastic. However, I can't really think of any good movies outside of The Notebook and Mean Girls that she's in the 2000s. Sherlock Holmes, actually 2009 is fine, but I'm not like The Lucky Ones, The Family Stones, Red Eye. Wedding Crashers, I'm pretty sure it's fine. It's fine. I think that's an incredibly sexist film, but that's just me. But that's just me. That's neither here or there. But I just don't think she is from the Wedding Crashers in particular. She's not even the best part of that movie. Honestly, that's just my opinion, though.
You're right to it. Yeah.
If we were talking about movies later, I feel like if anything, she's more bigger in the 2010s. I mean, she just came out with Eurovision Song Contest, where she was in Doctor Strange, she was in Spotlight, Disobedience, Southpaw, About Time, which is, I think About Time is definitely one of her best roles to date. So if anything, I feel like this decade, the 2010s, would be a better decade for her as far as defining actresses of the decade.
And also,
no.
yeah. But yeah, and also Stephen, Family Stone was definitely 2005. But yeah, but Alex, we go back to you for your next nomination.
Yeah. Okay. So my nomination would have to be Julianne Moore. Okay, Julianne Moore is an Oscar-winning actress. She actually was nominated for three Oscars during the 2000s, two in the same year, from Far From Heaven, The Hours, and in 2000 she was nominated for The End of the Affair. Now she's not known for being in huge movies. She was in Boogie Nights in the late 90s, but she was known for very consistently doing a lot of award-winning movies in the 2000s in particular. A Single Man, the Kids. Oh wait, Kids Are Is 2010, I believe. I'm Not. She was also in I'm Not There as well. Children of Men. President of Defiance, Ohio. So she was definitely involved starting at that point, starting in the 2000s. Not only she was also in Hannibal, so starting at the year 2000, she really started finding her footing as an actress, as an awards contending actress very consistently throughout that decade. And she was constantly in the conversation. Now she's not so much. She already has her awards and she's not getting the lead roles or anything all that much. But for that decade, it was a huge one for her. She defined the decade with the roles.
But yeah, Richard, what do you say about Julianne Moore?
Oh, it's a yes for me. Hannibal was one of her major roles. I mean, I would say yes because she was in Evolution, one of my favorite comedies, low budget comedies.
With that movie, it's either you love it or hate it. So I was, I love it. Divisive. So I wasn't sure if I should mention it.
She was in Children of Men, obviously, she's in a lot of good things in the 2000s. It's a yes for me. Mm-hmm. I for a second I forgot Hannibal was 2000. I thought it was the 90s. It's oh no, 2001.
Yeah, I couldn't remember. I couldn't remember if it was 99 or 2000. So I was like, yes.
No, this I remember Hannibal. That was definitely within early 2000s movie.
Yeah, but Julianne Moore is one that once again I didn't think of myself, and that when I was looking, it's like, oh yes, she definitely is. I mean, she's in a lot of my favorite movies from him. It's I actually do enjoy Hannibal, Far From Heaven, The Hours, which I actually just watched for the first time this year. But yeah, it's a yes to Julianne Moore for me. Ryan, what you have said.
She definitely would have been a yes too, because she may have not have been the most prominent lead, but when Julianne Moore was on screen, you knew she was there. I mean, one of my favorite performances from in the 2000s is The Forgotten, where while the story in the movie itself might not make sense to you guys or it might throw you off, her performance throughout that entire movie, playing a distraught mother trying to find her child, just the desperation and the mother's love she pours out through her performances. I enjoyed that. And also there was also another movie in 2000 she did. Was Freedom Land in the 2000s? Because that was kind of a very subtle performance. Yeah, I don't know, but she did a movie called Freedom Land, and I remember she stuck out to me in that movie. Mm-hmm. Although the movie itself was kind of forgettable.
Yeah, but it's on to me. And this one, I don't know how this is going to go. But I'm going to try it anyway. But I'm bringing up Jennifer Lopez. This is one that I don't know how it's going to go, because I know there's one movie a lot of people gravitate to as being her worst in this decade. But she's been in a lot of good stuff as well. She was in The Cell, The Wedding Planner, Made in Manhattan, Angel Eyes, Monster-in-Law. A lot of, and I mean, all those I think are good movies. And I think it's enough that I think she's been in a lot of good movies here that I think she belongs on this list. What to say about J-Lo?
This is the first time, I forgot about Jennifer Lopez, which is really hurtful to me, because I remember growing up with Jennifer Lopez through watching her at the Flag Girls. I mean, through my dad's recorded tapes of In Living Color, to her music career. I will give a yes to Jennifer Lopez, because even though she was mainly lots of rom-com movies, but she did have some solid performances. I know Selena may have not have been the 2000s, but it was still a strong enough performance from her to actually push her career forward. I mean, some would argue maybe the 90s was her time too, but she still really showed strong in the 2000s to where she did dominate early 2000s on both acting and in the music industry. So I will say yes.
Alex, what do you say about J-Lo?
No. Okay, all the movies that she's in, I definitely respect your opinion, but all the movies that she's in 2000s, Gigli, Jersey Girl, Shall We Dance, Monster-in-Law, An Unfinished Life, El Cantante, and that's it. Are none of them arguably are not just well-received movies, but I feel like she wasn't known more for her movies. I feel like she was just more for being like a star at that point, not so much for being a movie star, and just for everything going on behind the scenes. So I don't think she's considered like an act. She's definitely a defining personality of the 2000s, but not a defining actress of the 2000s.
That's definitely fair. Richard, you're on the fence here. So.
Here's the thing. When I think of Jennifer Lopez, I think of Selena and Jack, which was the 90s. And I think of Gigli, which was a terrible movie in the 2000s, and Jersey Girl, which I like Jersey Girl. A lot of people give it hate. I don't know why he gives it hate, but I gotta go with no. I just feel like her most dominant roles were in the 90s, whereas the 2000s. And that's even though she was in a lot of movies in 2000s, there's just none I can think of other than Gigli and Jersey Girl.
Yeah, no, that's fair. I knew that one was going to be a risky one to bring up just because she's probably known more for music in the 2000s. But that aside, Ryan, we go back to you.
Okay. She may be a long shot, but you know what? I'm also going to shoot her out as well. The actress I'm also going to nominate is Queen Latifah. I remember Queen Latifah like in the 90s movie in the TV series Living Single when she had guest appearances, and then in the 2000s I also remember her as a rapper as well, but in the 2000s she started coming out with the movie, with that co-starring movie of Bringing Down the House. She was in the movie Brown Sugar. She got nominated in the movie Chicago, supporting actress alongside Catherine Zeta-Jones, even though she didn't win it. Personally, in my mind, I think she should have. And then also, if we want to talk, she was mainly a comedic actress, but Chicago showed that she has quality in her, that she can put on an incredible, dominating, a memorable performance. And then from the 2000s, she was in like certain black movies like Barbershop 2, Beauty Shop. And funny thing is, I had just saw this movie last holiday. She was in.
Yeah, that's a fun one.
And I love her supporting performance in Stranger Than Fiction. And then, of course, if you wanted to throw franchises in there, she was also part of the Ice Age franchise. But if not, she still had a very strong list of movies starting from 2001 all the way up. So that's my nomination.
Alex, you got really excited with this one. What do you say about Queen Latifah?
I actually really love Queen Latifah. She's also in one of my favorite coming of age movies, The Secret Life of Bees from 2008. It was like 2008 or 2009, I want to say. But yeah, you cannot argue. She is definitely one of the more notable, not only black actresses in Hollywood. Being part of Beauty Shop is huge. It's a huge movie. So, and not only that, she was involved with several major award-winning movie musicals like Hairspray as well as Chicago. So I honestly think I would give it a yes, but I also kind of want to take off Dakota Fanning still because of it. Because looking at this list that we have on the side, I feel like we have a great list, and then Dakota Fanning's up there. No, just slide that. Can we just slide that one off? Like, away.
Well, when we rank them, you can nominate her to be at the bottom when we start ranking.
No, honestly, I don't think she deserves to be in the conversation right now. After going over some of the other ones, I'd rather
I think people in the comments will agree with you. People will agree with you later on.
Lots of regrets right now. Why did I okay it? Why?
I'm just going to point out we had this exact discussion on the actors episode about the movie.
And the 80s episode. And the 80s comedy.
It's not an official rule yet. I might include it later on, but at the moment, Dakota's staying there. But Richard, what do you say about Queen Latifah?
I had her on my list. She's a great choice. I loved her in Hairspray, Beauty Shop, Barbershop 2, Ice Age franchise. She's very memorable in the 2000s. It's a yes for me.
And Queen Latifah makes a list. It would have been a yes for me. This is another one that I personally didn't think of myself, but so I'm glad it was brought up because just looking at the list, like
huge list here. So.
I mean, I've also got a huge list, so it's going to be interesting to see it. But yeah, and as Chris said, her rendition of "I Know Where I've Been" and for Hairspray is really powerful. But we go on to Richard for your next nomination.
I don't know how this will go, but I really like this actress. I'm nominating Rosario Dawson. She was in, obviously, the first thing that came to mind was Men in Black 2. She was in Josie and the Pussycats. She was in Chelsea's Walls, Trigger Happy. She was in Sin City. She was in Rent, one of my favorite musicals of all time. The Revolution, Alexander, The Rundown, Shattered Glass, The Girl's Life. She was in a lot of movies in the 2000s. A lot of them are good. A lot of them are okay, but I just think she's another underrated actress. And that's my nomination, Rosario Dawson.
Rosario Dawson is on the table. This is one that is an interesting one because, well, in looking at that, like with things like Men in Black 2, Josie and the Pussycats, and Sin City and Rent, I do like her in. But I mean, she was also great in Death Proof, but it's one of those ones. I personally am probably going to say no. So I think those few movies are good. I don't think it's strong enough to sort of say she's good all over. But there's two other people here that can get it on, so I'll see what happens. Ryan, what do you say about Rosario Dawson?
Yeah, I didn't consider her as well, and I like her. And I like her bit part in Men in Black too. I love her in The Rundown with The Rock and Sean William Scott. I even like her in the Will Smith movie 7 Pounds. And that movie is kind of a... I mean, I go back and forth on that movie at times. I think it's heartwarming. Other times I think it's... And I think it's purposely trying to, pull your heartstrings and not naturally. Damn. Okay.
Go with your guts. No hurt feelings here.
Yeah, I know, but the problem is that now screw it. Yeah, I've nominated so many different stuff on the list where I'm worried of the comments. I won't worry of the comments here. Okay. Oh God, if this was any other kind of list, I would nominate Rosario Dawson, but unfortunately, I'm gonna have to say no.
Alex, what would you have said about Rosario?
No.
That's fair.
I think
she's very forgettable in the 2000s.
No, I love her. It's just that I can't think of many movies outside of Rent that she's been in the 2000s where I'm like, yeah, she's the standout. And
yeah, totally.
I feel like a lot of her roles are more in the 2010s are like where she really not only comes into her own, but she gets a lot more recognition as like a really awesome actress. That's just me.
Yeah, that's
but yeah, we go back to Alex for your next nomination.
Okay, guys. I want to bring up a little actress we might have touched on recently, but her name is Keira Knightley. Okay, she's been in Atonement, Pride and Prejudice, Pirates of the Caribbean movies. Oh my gosh, so many. She is one of the most box office wise, one of those bankable actresses in Hollywood still today, but especially started in the 2010s until today. A lot of our most iconic characters are from films from the 2000s in particular. Love Actually, you may love it or you hate it. It's still one of the most iconic Christmas movies of all time. Bend It Like Beckham, my favorite sports movie of all time. So regardless of how she has one of the most diverse filmography of the 2000s in particular, she's still considered not only a great actress because of the movies that were released in the 2000s. And I don't feel like I don't feel like a lot of our movies from the 2010s ever kind of lived up to the amazingness of the 2000s comparatively.
Keira Knightley is on the table. Richard, what do you say?
My favorite performance is when she played Natalie Portman in episode 1. I always get those two confused. Like,
I respect it.
I'm going to say yes because Elizabeth Swann alone
was
such an iconic character, and also her character in Domino. Like, Domino was another
Domino. I love Domino.
I'm going to say yes because she did. Like, I would just say Elizabeth Swann on her own was very iconic in the 2000s. So it's a yes for me.
Keira Knightley is easily a yes for me because aside from what has already been mentioned, like Pirates of the Caribbean, Love Actually, I just saw The Duchess for the first time this year. I really do like that movie. I think she's really great in that as well. Ryan, what you have said about Keira Knightley?
I mean, it doesn't matter, but she was the 5th actress I had off the top of my head. Yeah, and at the same time, when I saw Bend It Like Beckham, I didn't want to like it, not because I was at the time I was big. At the time with football/soccer, I was on and off with that sport. So when I saw Bend It Like Beckham, I'm like, oh, this is just gonna be some stupid like happy-go-lucky movie. But no, that movie is real at times, and I like Keira Knightley's performance in it, and of course Elizabeth Swann. And Atonement. Okay, she blew me away in Atonement.
I love Atonement. Yeah.
Yeah, yes, I would give her a yes as well.
But with that, Keira Knightley is on the list, and it's back to me for my first, next nomination. And for this one, I'm going to bend and snap to find this nomination. I'm bringing up Reese Witherspoon.
Gosh darn it.
with the Legally Blonde movies alone, and Walk the Line, which has won the Oscar for her role as June Carter. It's like, but she was also in Sweet Home Alabama, Importance of Being Earnest, Vanity Fair. She was in a lot of great movies in here. I mean, she wasn't in a lot of movies, but I think the ones she was in are good, and I think she belongs on this list. Ryan, what do you say about Reese Witherspoon?
Oh, I'm surprised she wasn't mentioned earlier. Yeah, I have her on my list, and yes, 2000s is her. In my mind, I think 2000s was her year, not just off of. I mean, Legally Blonde alone, she with her performance as Elle Woods, she created something that is still talked about this day, not with just the bend and snap, but also the nice little thing. I mean, the cute little stuff that she does with her character as Elle Woods. I mean, there's other movies I want to mention off my head, but I don't want to keep dragging. So yes, it's yes for Reese Witherspoon.
Alex, what do you say about Reese Witherspoon?
No. I love her in Ben and Snap, but that was 2000, and I don't like a lot of it. And I don't think she has many other roles outside of Legally Blonde that makes it more of a defined decade. I think she's better in the 2010s more than anything, honestly. But also she takes on a lot of her more challenging roles. I want to say, from what I remember, let me just double check. A lot of her more challenging and better roles are honestly in the 2010s overall, with not only, she does, she does, I think she just does like a whole lot more in the 2010s rather than the 90s. Sorry, the 2000s. As it's made up.
That's fair. But Richard, it's on you.
Ooh, I gotta go yes. Just Legally Blonde was a very iconic role. Sweet Home Alabama was it was so talked about when it came out. Like a lot of her films, like they may not be talked about now, but in the 2000s, a lot of these films were talked about when she did. Like even Four Christmases, like it was talked about how bad that movie was, but it was still talked about a lot. Penelope, Just Like Heaven, Walk the Line. Also,
I actually like Just Like Heaven.
Walk the Line.
I'm not gonna lie, I remember that movie, but I forgot that she was in it. I remember Mark Ruffalo in it.
Yeah. John Heater was in that movie.
But I don't remember. I don't remember her being in it, to be honest. But that's me.
Yeah,
she plays a ghost. She plays a ghost in that
Yeah.
movie.
Yeah.
It's a yes for me.
Yeah, it's gonna be a rom-com. Yeah.
I'll give you
It's a
Reese.
yes from Richard.
I'll give you Reese, Malcolm. We can take off Dakota and keep
But
Reese.
we go 2-1.
Okay, it's on me. All right. I'm gonna paraphrase one of my favorite comedy sketch shows. And I'm gonna talk about the Anne Hathaways. Okay, that is my pick. Anne Hathaway. Not only was this another young actress coming up in the 2000s, but she had movies to back it up. I mean, you talk about The Princess Diaries, you talk about Ella Enchanted, and then she gets a nominated performance in Rachel Getting Married. She was also part of Get Smart, one of my favorite comedies of Steve Carell's career. The Devil Wears Prada, let's not forget that. She had Becoming Jane, where she's playing a fictionalized version of Jane Austen. And then, whether you love it or hate the movie or not, Bride Wars happened. It's her hysteric chemistry with Kate Hudson was entertaining throughout the film. And it kind of like with some of the arguments of Reese Witherspoon, so maybe her best work maybe came later in the 2010s, but it was in the 2000s. Not only could you not escape Anne Hathaway, she was just very infectious during that decade.
But yeah, I'd say I think Anne Hathaway was much better in the 1500s. Oh wait, you're not talking about that Anne Hathaway.
Yeah.
So somebody had to make
the inspiration, for
somebody had to
Shakespeare.
make that joke. But Alex, what do you say about Anne Hathaway?
I say yes, honestly. I mean, her first movie, I believe, was Princess Diaries, which came out 2001, 2002, around then.
Yeah.
Around that. And I know that was her first feature-length film, and that was the start of her actively being involved with movies. And I feel like a lot of her most iconic roles are from the 2000s. So I felt yes, honestly.
Richard, what do you say about Anne Hathaway?
She was on my list, so it's a yes.
And yeah, Anne Hathaway is an easy yes for me as well. She was really great from the get go. I really enjoyed it in Princess Diaries, but yeah. Alex, we go back to you. No, Richard, we go back to you. Sorry.
All right. I'm just gonna throw this out here. I don't know how this is gonna go. With the exception of The Parent Trap, which was in the 90s, Lindsay Lohan was literally the actress of 2000. She was in Mean Girls. She was in Freaky Friday. A lot of people argue it's better than the original. She was in Confessions of a True Drama
Teenage Drama Queen.
Yeah, Teenage Drama Queen. Sorry, I never really watched that movie. Not gonna lie, I'm not a huge Lindsay Lohan fan, but she was in the Herbie franchise. She was in that Herbie movie. She was in a lot of things in the 90s. She was in the Scary Movie. No, that was in the 2010s.
That was 2010s. Yeah, and that's not a good one.
You know what? Yeah, you should probably say no because I'm looking at her list now. But I was thinking first person that came to mind was Lindsay Lohan. So, oh well. Not gonna lie.
Yeah. That's a bold strategy, Cotton. I don't think it's going to pay off. I'm going to say no to Lindsay Lohan. Ryan.
No, that was my bad. I wanted to switch.
No, I understand your reasoning, Richard. And to be honest, Lindsay Lohan did pop up in my head. But looking at her career in the 2000s, she bloomed, and she was like a supernova. She burned bright, but then she died young. So that's a no.
That's fine. I wanted to change my vote halfway when I said it.
Don't worry, man.
And Alex.
Sorry.
Making me regret Dakota Fanning, so I'm like, maybe I shouldn't have brought her up.
Sorry, dude. I love
but-
that you brought her up though, because as far as like child actresses, she's definitely, I would actually put her in that conversation. She just has so much more duds than, cons than pros, honestly. But you can't argue she was one of the most talked about personalities of especially the early mid.
The reason I had her on my list originally was The Parent Trap, but then I realized it was 98, not 2000s. Like, god damn it, I thought something was off. I thought it was 2000s.
Yeah, I love Parent Trap though, which sucks.
I like it. She has a good British accent at times.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, go back to Alex for your next pick.
Okay, guys, I'm gonna list a whole bunch of really awesome movies and see if you guys can find a pattern between all of these. Curious Case of Benjamin Button, Burn After Reading, I Am Love, Michael Clayton, Constantine, Adaptation, Vanilla Sky. What do all these have in common? An awesome lady by the name of Tilda Swinton. Yes. Okay. So she can do anything and everything. Is she funny? Yes. Is she amazing? Absolutely. Is she hilarious and beautiful and great and dramatic and weird at the same time? Yes. Okay. So she's worked with during this time. Not only is she like an award nominated and winning actress during this decade in particular, but also she worked with a bunch of she's involved with a bunch of different genres of movies, a lot of different weird movies. She's constantly in the conversation of what is she gonna do? What kind of role is she going to take, especially for this decade in particular, where she's taken on the weird role? She's a weird fallen angel in Constantine. She plays a woman that's having a weird affair in Burn After Reading. She's in I Am Love, another woman having an affair. She's in Vanilla Sky. She's working consistently with a lot of these, directors, that we really kind of now associate her as not only the indie actress to work with, but also one of the most notable actresses in general. She's actually been riding that wave until today, coming back from a lot of the huge roles that she did in the 2000s in particular. And even if you don't like the movies I Am Love, Michael Clayton, or Constantine, who do you love? Tilda Swinton. She can't do a bad job. That's what I'm trying to sell.
I'll say after that speech, Alex should run for president of the States.
Put me on a ballad, yo.
Richard, what do you say about Tilda Swinton?
All you had to say was Constantine and Narnia. And you
Dude,
would've gotten a
I
yes from
forgot
me.
about Narnia. Yeah.
Yes.
No worries.
Yeah,
no.
Narnia. Yeah.
There's a lot of movies I haven't seen until Swinton in the 2000s, but I know she does great. So it's a yes for me.
Yes.
Yeah, Tilda's an easy yes for me as well. Like just out with the movies that was mentioned, Narnia. The fact she has won an Oscar in that decade, I think, it's all enough that I think she deserves to be here. Ryan, what would you have said?
It's not just a yes, it's a hell yes. I mean,
she brought up like Batman nipples. For George Clooney, when she accepted her. So just want to remind you of that. I mean, iconic.
Yeah, but I mean, also, one thing about Tilda Swinton, she's a very strong, versatile actress. I remember when Doctor Strange came out in the 2010s and she was casted, people were complaining about her taking over a role that was for a man. She plays a man in Constantine. While she has feminine qualities.
No, she's not playing him. Well, let's say in Constantine, she's not playing a man. Angels are supposed to be sexless. But
I know, but I'm just saying. But as a character of Gabriel throughout the entire movie of Constantine is referred to in a male term. That scene between Keanu and Peter Stormare, when he says his son's in there with Gabriel, he just goes, he doesn't have the best choices. Meaning, even though it's almost like demon and angel situations, but at the same time, Tilda Swinton is dressed to the garb to look, very sexless and very not translucent. But at the same time, her character is referred to as a man in that movie. I mean, I don't want to go on a huge tangent on that, but I say yes in this. Yes for Tilda Swinton.
All I'm hearing is I succeeded. I also not only is she like able to bring up like Batman nipples like on camera on like during the award show. Thing is with not only Constantine, her character in particular, it's kind of, I don't like to say she's riding the wave of her success from the 2000s. it's just that she's just so consistently good in everything, even in the 2010s. But a lot of her most iconic roles are from that decade in particular. Sorry, I apologize, Malcolm. I just like
That's all good.
Yeah.
It gave me time to sort of think of which way I wanted to go for my next nomination. And this is probably going to be an interesting one for me because a lot of people, there may be people that may say that she was good on a different on the one of the other sides of the decades, but I'm bringing up Dame Judi Dench. Like in the 2000s, she had about 4 Oscar nominations alone, like for Chocolate Iris, Mrs. Henderson Presents, Notes on a Scandal. But aside from that, she was also M in Quantum Solace, and
The
Casino
Daniel
Royale.
Craig
And,
Bond,
yeah, that's what I meant. But
Actually,
she was also
both Brosnan and Daniel Craig Bonds. Yeah, so she had a. Yeah, I heard you say.
But that's all good. But she was also in The Importance of Being Earnest, Ladies and Lavender, 2 other really good movies. But I don't know where it's going to go for this one. But Ryan, what do you say about Dame Judi Dench?
Oh wow, this is definitely a tough one. Yeah, I guess when I was thinking of my list of decade-defining actresses, I mainly kept to more of career-defining or like blowing up in the 2000s. But now bringing up with Judi Dench, the movies you listed down, yeah, she was a very solid. She had a solid line of work throughout the entirety of the 2000s, not just with James Bond, but also Notes on a Scandal. I really do. I actually kind of like her performance in Notes on a Scandal. Just for versatility. Well, yeah, for versatility's sake, I'm going to say yes to Dame Judi Dench.
Alex, what do you say about Judi Dench?
Judging by my facial expressions, no. I think I love Notes on a Scandal. I think that movie is so underwatched, so underrated. But that's only one movie. But she is involved, obviously, as M from the James Bond franchise, and I think she's fabulous as M. She's by far one of my favorite parts of the movies. But at the same time, she's not pivotal to the character. I mean, she's not pivotal to like the whole thing. She could technically be recast in those movies, and it wouldn't really change all that much, honestly. So, I mean, I think she's amazing. She's just she's not like the main part of the movies. If she was actually James Bond, that'd be so much cooler. Just saying.
Judi Dench is the next Bond after Daniel Craig confirmed.
Make it happen. Make it happen. But there's no other. I can't think of any other movies in the 2000s in particular that she's like well.
I am saying no for one reason: is she's like Meryl Streep. She defines every decade, and we only have 9 spots. And I want to give it to other actresses whose major defining performances are in the 2000s. And I feel like it's unfair to the other actresses. You put someone as talented as Judi Dench, because she's great in almost anything she's in.
Yeah.
So that's the only reason why I'm saying no. I feel like if it was actresses defined every decade, she would be on this list.
Oh, that's true. I say that. She's like Meryl Streep. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like, I feel like
no, that's fair.
we have other actresses who mainly did the 2000s. I feel like she'd be on this list. Other than
yeah, you're right. Yeah.
But with that, we go back to Ryan for his next nomination.
Okay. I'm going to say this, and maybe you guys might know what I'm talking about. Maybe you don't. But here we go. No, fuck, I don't remember. I do 120 on the freeway drinking yak off the Durban. Oh, sorry. I'm trying to remember her rap she did on SNL. My next actress is Natalie Portman. Okay. Natalie Portman.
I can rap it for you. I can rap it
for you. Yeah, please. Go right ahead. I'm trying to remember it like verbatim.
Oh no, that's like now I feel bad. Like now that I'm on the spot, let me see like Natalie's rap because I got it.
The first one, not the one where she does later, where she just say something about the motherfucking prequel.
Let me just like get it going for a hot minute. Let me just after this ad real quick.
Well, no problem.
Give me a minute. I'll wrap it.
It's
be so good.
Natalie Portman. You really want to know? All the kids who looking up to me can suck my.
Suck my dick. Yeah. Oh my gosh. It's
a badass bitch,
um.
and I always pay for your dry clean when my
He
kids
gets
in
any
shoes,
shoes and asks for.
drug use. Well, I
Wait.
can't vouch for that.
You crazy bitch. Yo, shut the fuck up and suck my dick.
What?
What you do smells like gushers, motherfucker. We're not in the embassy.
It'd be like, Dave,
Natalie, do you want?
what you need, Natalie?
All night. Don't touch me when I'm crazy on the airplane troop. Put down your throat, take your shit in my shoe. Please screaming. Pay for him at the dry cleaning. Now shut you, man. I'm not gonna do it anymore. That's too
My
much.
name is
It's my name that is screaming.
If only Natalie's rep was on Twitch Sings.
Yeah. Oh my god, I would go crazy off both.
That song is
those
on
versions.
Twitch Sings. Oh my god.
I said this. If only it was on Twitch Sings. I don't think it is.
Oh my gosh, that was
I
like.
will go onto my Twitch Sings profile and try to recommend Lonely Island songs, for Christ's sake. But as I was saying, Natalie Portman, from her career in the 2000s, I mean, of course, for me, I got introduced to her in Star Wars: The Phantom Menace, but then she ends up going, she outside of Star Wars, she does Garden State, which is back and forth and others. She did movies like Closer. She did V for Vendetta, my favorite movies out there. She was one of my favorite actors in the movie Paris Jean-Thomas, or I Love You, Paris. And then, of course, going down her career, I mean, she was part of the she was one of the few actors in the Darjeeling Limited, the other Boleyn Girl, which you can't say is her movie. And also with Natalie Portman, some can also argue that the 2010s was her year because it's where she did more high profile and Academy worthy performances. But for me, the 2000s really was like a good jumping off platform for her to where she got stronger in her career. So that's my nomination. Take it as you will, everybody. I know we got 9 spots left, so you can be ruthless.
Alex, what do you say about Natalie Portman?
When was Black Swan?
2010.
2010.
Dang it.
Yeah.
Okay, so aside from Star Wars, what else did she do?
Garden State, V for Vendetta.
Yeah.
Is that it?
Mr. Megorian's Wonder Emporium.
Let's not talk about that movie.
Mr. Megorian's Wonder. Yeah. The Darjeeling Limited, the other Boleyn Girl, the other woman, Paris. I Love You, Paris.
I
one.
honestly say no, just because I think she's better in the 2010s. Honestly, with like her being involved in like the MCU, and she did like Jackie, the start of not only that, she just started at that point becoming much more like more involved in like in Ward's conversation as well.
Yeah.
That's me. So we're getting picky now.
No, trust me, I got like 20 other names on here that we're getting picky on.
But Richard, what do you say about Natalie Portman?
It's really hard because we have Keira Knightley on there, and I made the joke that Keira Knightley, at least one of my favorite roles, when she played Natalie Portman in episode 1. It's tough. I'm gonna say no, just because
We're getting
other than Star Wars and V for Vendetta, like she really wasn't anything like too groundbreaking. Even though I liked Garden State, most people don't. So I'm just gonna. It's a slight no for me.
I still love Garden State, regardless of people's opinions.
Oh, I love Garden State too.
Yeah.
I love the soundtrack for Garden State, man.
Oh, that soundtrack is fantastic.
But yeah, I like Natalie Portman, but I've got to say no. This is one that I did think about bringing up earlier, but after looking at her thing, I was like, I just decided not to, for the reason that like I think 2010 was where she started to thrive and just zoom up to the big leagues. But it's not a bad choice. Like there's no bad choices here, really. But we go to Richard.
Ooh. See, this is getting kind of hard for me, just because like I'm about to kind of go against what I said originally about another role, how we're trying to not do defining people of the keep to certain decades. But I'm looking at this actress's IMDb, and she was in a lot of good things in the 2000s. I'm gonna go with Drew Barrymore. She was in Titan AE, Charlie's Angels. She was in 51st Dates, Fever Pitch, Curious George, the anime movie. She was in Donnie Darko, Freddy Got Fingered, Lucky You, Whip It, which was a really good movie. I like Whip It.
I love Whip It.
And
I think she directed or she wrote that movie.
I forgot which
She
one.
directed. It was her first directorial film.
And she was also in He's Just Not That Into You. I mean, I know I know like a lot of people were thinking of her like obviously in the 90s, but she did a lot of memorable roles in the 2000s as well. So that's gonna be my nomination, Drew Barrymore. So kind of going against what I said.
Yeah, I mean, Drew Barrymore was one that I did think of in here. This is one. I will lean towards a yes for this one because I mean, like, well, yeah, like she was good in Running Cars with Boys, Charlie's Angels movies, 51st Dates, and I do actually like her music and lyrics as well. But yeah, this is one of those ones that if she doesn't make it, I will understand. I kind of get why, but I do think it's a good choice. But Ryan, what do you say about Drew Barrymore?
Oh, this is really hurt. She was actually on my honorable mentions list. Mainly because for Drew Barrymore, 51st Dates, the Charlie's Angels movies. Wait, was Riding in Cars with Boys in the 2000s as well?
Yeah.
No. Oh wait, I'm thinking of Boys on the Side. My bad. Oh. Never mind. Forget me.
No, that's okay. Like
that was 2001.
Confessions of a Dangerous Mind. Didn't realize that. Okay. No, I'm thinking of
man, it's hard, but yeah, she did have solid work in the 2000s. Damn. Just damn, I am.
I mean, again, like it was getting kind of hard. I mean, I understand whatever you guys decision.
If you wanna think about it for a hot second, I can just let you know my answer real fast. If you're still pondering it, I mean.
No, I'm not pondering anymore. My answer was going to be no because there's 5 other actresses I kind of want to nominate on here, but I have no idea. But I figured try to get at least one of them on here.
Yeah. I wasn't sure if you just wanted to give yourself a little extra time to think about that one in particular. Because this one, I feel very similar to you. I feel like the 2000, it was like starting in the 2000s, she really came to her own. But when I think of Drew Barrymore, I think of Scream. I think of Scream. I think of
Never Been Kissed, 90s.
Yeah, 90s. I think of Wedding Singer. I think of Batman Forever. And so all those movies are 90s. And so, so that's my association. But I hear all those movies and I'm like, those are great too. But I feel like in the 2000s, she has a lot of really not as well known, but she does have a few really great ones, like you said, like 51st Dates. It's one of my favorite rom-coms of all time. Fever Pitch. Going Distance, I know is 2010, but I still love that movie. Oh, I love that movie. But I feel like she was in quite a few movies in the 2000s, but she was only in a handful of good ones, but a lot of bad ones at the same time.
Yeah.
So I vote no. But versus the 90s, I was like, bam, yes. Yeah.
But with that, we go back to Alex for your next nomination.
Okay, so this is really difficult. I'm gonna, like I said earlier, what I did earlier with Tilda Swinton's, I'm gonna go with one of the most box office loved movie actresses of the 2000s. I'm just gonna whip out a handful of movies: 28 Days, The Lake House Proposal, Miss Congeniality, Blindside. Her name is Sandra Bullock. Yeah, Sisterhood. She's one of the box office wise. She not only is she one of the most bankable actresses of the 2000s, but she started getting a handful of really great movies in the late 90s. And starting in the 2000s, she really started finding her footing. She became the go-to rom-com queen. And she started, and not to mention, she got an Oscar in technically 2010. But it was a movie that was released in 2009 with The Blind Side. So that being said, I think the defining actresses of the 2000s all of our movies that are considered defining to her as an actress are all in the 2000s, and she's one of the most bankable actresses of that time. So I vote Sandra Bullock.
Yeah, this is but actually, Richard, what do you say about Sandra Bullock?
It's a yes for me, but I disagree with one thing. She was in Speed in the 90s. That's way more defining than anything in the 2000s. No, okay, Miss Congeniality, Blindside.
I can't argue
No. Sandra Bullock is a yes. Like, she was on my list.
She also,
I wasn't sure.
While you were sleeping in the 90s.
I love her,
as
yeah.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, Blindside's like it does not age well, obviously, upon reflection, obviously. You know, but it was a hugely popular movie when it came out. Like everyone knew that movie. Everyone saw it.
Yeah. But yeah, Sandy B is an easy yes for me. Like just what everything Alex has said is true. Like 28 Days, Miss Congeniality, and all that are great movies, and they all 2000s kind of really found to pushing. But yeah, Ryan, what would you have said about Sandra Bullock?
Sandra Bullock was definitely on my list under Anne Hathaway, and I went back and forth on wanting to nominate her. But now looking at it, I would be insulting my dad because he was a big fan of Miss Congeniality. I'd be insulting my favorite Schmoedown player of all time, Clark Wolf, because Sandra Bullock is her favorite actress. And also, I mean, yes, I love the proposal. I finally got a chance to see it. I love her. I mean, 2000. Yes, just yes, Sandra Bullock.
But yeah, for my next nomination, I'm going to go someone who I'm surprised hasn't been brought up yet, and that's Kate Winslet. Because like in the 2000s, she had like Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, Flushed Away, Iris, Finding Neverland. I mean, she got 4 Oscar nominations in the 2000s alone, and well, yes, a lot of people may say that she may be more iconic in the 90s or 2010s. I think 2000s is where she kind of started ramping up as being a very big actress and started building up her resume a lot. Ryan, what do you say about Kate Winslet?
She was actually one of the actresses on my list of the 5 I wanted to put on here. So it is a yes. And look, Titanic, that may have been the late 90s, but it definitely wasn't a defining moment for her. As you said, the 2000s was it, not just with Finding Neverland, but also she did Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, my favorite Jim Carrey performance, and also Little Children and All the King's Men. While All the King's Men is kind of like a trash movie, I did not mind her performance. And of course, The Holiday, her chemistry with Jack Black makes that movie very charming, so charming. So that is a yes.
Alex, what do you say about Kate Winslet?
No. I think she's more iconic with a lot of her movies in the 2010s and also in the 90s. So the 2000s, I think she's great, but I mean, I think she has more movies that and like, for example, Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, wonderful. I personally haven't seen it, but I know it's one of the most beloved movies of the decade. Absolutely. But aside from that, I personally can't see that many movies that are still talked about as beloved movies. Like The Holiday, I think it is. And that's it.
She was also in Revolutionary Road and The Reader, which was dominated.
That talks about that movie outside of our little group of like cinephiles. I don't know anyone. If I talked about these movies to my parents, like how many are my parents gonna recognize that don't actively go to the theaters and they're gonna recognize them? They're not gonna know any of these movies. Versus, so that's why I say no. But if I say movies of the 90s that she's involved with, or the 2010s, if I say movies like Steve Jobs, or if I say Divergent or Contagion or Heck, even Carnage, the Roman Polanski movie, or Wonder Wheel.
Yeah.
My
It was a theater play as well.
Yeah, my parents. Yeah, I love Carnage. But my parents would actually recognize a lot of those movies versus like a lot of the 2010s. 2000s. I feel like you have to be kind of a cinephile in order to appreciate a lot of those movies, personally. So that's why I vote no, personally.
Yeah, no, that's totally fair. Richard, what do you say about? What do you say about Kate Winslet?
First off, I have a question. Ryan, how old are you?
Over 21.
Yeah, I'm just saying, because you're saying that Titanic was not a defining role for Kate Winslet? Are you out of your freaking mind?
No, I said it was the 90s. I said I didn't say it wasn't defining role. I'm just saying that it's not something that would have like if you were to say her decade of the 90s. That's what I was trying to say.
That was like the only role like she ever gets talked about now is still the Titanic. But Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind is such a great movie. I mean, the thing is, I kind of agree with Alex. Her like stand-up performances are 2010s and the 90s, where even though Eternal Sunshine, I can't even say the freaking title half the time. Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind was a fantastic movie. I can't think of any other movie during that time other than The Holiday, which I love. But a lot of people, the majority of people, did not like The Holiday as much as I do.
I love The Holiday. Yeah.
A lot of people don't, unfortunately. So I'm
Yeah.
going to go with no, just because I feel like her decade is the 90s and the 2010s more than the 2000s.
That's totally fair. But Ryan, we go back to you.
Okay, now this is definitely getting tougher. You know what? This actress, okay, let's be honest. You might say some of her best stuff was the 2010s as well, but I'm just going to throw it out there, and that's Charlize Theron. In the 2000s was where she was, because she started off early in the 90s where she was really more lauded over her looks, but the 2000s was where she was slowly making that transition to a solid actress, not just with her nominated movie, not just her Academy Award-winning performance in Monster, but also she was in the movie Sweet November, which, while it's kind of cheesy though, but she is trying to do her best opposite Keanu Reeves. She also went further on with The Italian Job, one of my favorite performances she does alongside Mark Wahlberg. There was also Aeon Flux, Take It or Leave It. Her favorite, I loved her in her small role in The Road. But it was more in the 2000s, Charlize Theron was making that transition from being just a pretty face into a taken serious actor, to where we start getting the better roles you see in the 2010s, like Prometheus, young adult. Her nominated performance in Bombshell and Mad Max Fury Road. So I'm gonna say 2010s feels like a more pivotal moment in her career. I mean, 2000s was a pivotal moment in her career. I'm like throwing out words, hoping something would stick.
It's all good. Alex, what do you say about Charlize Theron?
I definitely agree with you. A lot of the movies, actually one of the few people I enjoy Aeon Flux for what it is. I think it's a fun time. I mean, heck yeah. And also, I love Viola Davis. She's just so cool. I would have to say no, just because I feel like it definitely sets her success in the 2000s, definitely sets up her success in the 2010s. I just feel like she almost every other movie in the 2010s is like a box office success where she is the lead in those movies, versus the 2000s she's like more side characters, in the 2000s, like North Country, she's great, and an Italian Job I think is fantastic, but by no means is she like the reason why you're going to the theater, honestly. And I'm not looking at the IMDb thing right now. I can't really think of many movies on here that are, again, they're not exactly movies my family would know unless they were actively like trying to search for her, honestly. And I do love The Road, and I think Hancock is great, but she's not like the reason you're seeing that movie. So
yeah. Richard, what do you say about Charlize Theron?
Fair point.
Can you skip me and go to you? No,
He needs to recollect. He needs to get it together.
Yeah.
This I agree with Alex on this one. she's a no for me too. Well, yes, I think she was good in Monster and all that, and yes, she did win the Oscar for Monster, but as Alex said, I think 2010s is more where she's more defining, which is a lot of her most recognizable movies than anything. But yeah, Richard, the pressure's off now. What would you have said?
I have no idea. Like Charlize Theron's one of those people, like actresses, where it's like it could have been a yes, it could have been a no. It's just toss up. I just think now Charlize Theron more of the 2010s now than I did the 2000s, because like I forgot she was in Hancock.
Yeah,
that's how much I literally forgot she was in Hancock.
I forgot she was in The Road, and I love The Road. Yeah.
But with that, we go back to Richard for your next nomination.
Alright, I think I found a good one, as much as I hate to freaking say it. Whether you love her or hate her, Kristen Stewart was huge in the 2000s. You had her as Bella Swan in Twilight. She started off in Panic Room. She was in Zathura. She was in Jumper. She was in Adventureland. She was like Adventureland, which was in the early 2000s. She was in a lot of the 2000s, like Twilight alone. Like, that's such an iconic character, whether you love her or hate her. In the Land of Women, The Cake Eaters, Into the Wild, The Yellow Handkerchief. I mean, Catch That Kid. She made her start in the 2000s.
Yeah, Catch That Kid.
One thing I found out just from looking up at IMDb, she was uncredited in the Flintstones Fever Rock Vegas.
Yeah, I wasn't going to count that. I don't count uncredited stuff.
I have to give a small asterisk to Jumper. She only shows up like at the last 10 minutes of the movie.
But she was in it for some strange reason.
Yeah, but I really love the idea of Jumper. I think it's a really cool premise. But that movie sucks.
Execution.
That
I liked it better when it was called The Tomorrow People on the TV show Nickelodeon.
But anyway, I like where you're going with Kristen Stewart. I'm going to have to say no, just because I think the 2010s is where she really started to come out of her Twilight shadow. And even now, like, she still seems to be stuck in the Twilight shadow for some reason. That's where everyone goes to straight away when everyone brings her up. But it's like, but I think in the 2000s, I do like Panic Room. I actually do like the Twilight movies. They're guilty pleasure. But yeah, Ryan, what do you say about Kristen Stewart?
I appreciate you nominating her, because she was definitely an honorable mention on my list. But I didn't think of nominating her, not because however good or bad you take the Twilight franchise, Kristen Stewart gave you something memorable in that performance. Take it or leave it.
Mm-hmm.
But it was a huge shadow on her, to where it kind of hinted to why she was doing a lot more smaller independent movies that led to that huge renaissance she had in the 2010s. I mean, she and Robert Pattinson both suffered greatly over that movie, but their
poor
drive.
millionaires. Poor millionaires. Poor millionaire actors getting recognized on an international platform. I feel awful for them.
Oh damn! I think I just pissed off.
What's up, Peggy?
Yeah, I actually do.
But on Richard, what he was saying, I would have given her a yes.
But with that, so is that a yes for you, Ryan?
Oh, I thought it was the last one. Sorry, I blanked out.
No, Alex still has to go.
I don't want to assume what she's gonna say, but I'm just gonna say yes anyway for Kristen Stewart. Thomas can hate me later.
I really want to take away a Dakota Fanning. Ugh, it's frustrating now looking at the list, because I would have said absolutely yes to Kirsten Stewart, just because she's consistently not only a bankable actress that people recognize. A lot of her most iconic roles are from the 2000s. You know, not only from the Twilight things, but like you said, I don't want to count I can't say Jumper is. I'm not going to see the movie Jumper
Yeah.
because she's in it, obviously. But she was in Zathura. She was in The Messengers, Into the Wild, which was one of my favorite movies of the 2000s. Speak. Panic Room as well. So I would have said yes if Dakota Fanning was off this list, because to me she's like a better actress from that decade, but with a more notable movie selection. And I'm beating myself for saying yes earlier. But considering we have only one spot left, no.
Well,
She's
two,
better.
actually.
Okay.
We have two left.
Yeah, we have two
But
left.
okay, but still, we only have two things left, and I think she's better, and she's amazing in this past decade alone.
Yeah,
I feel like she in past decade alone, I feel like she's a million times more memorable roles and bigger roles and everything as well.
What?
But for that we go to Alex for your next nomination.
Okay, so this is getting really tough, guys. This is getting really intense. I'm gonna go with a woman. Take it or leave it. I think a lot of our most iconic roles are from the 2000s in particular. When we talk about this actress, we talk about movies from the 2000s almost exclusively. So her name is Nicole Kidman. I love Nicole Kidman. I mean, can we take a moment to talk about Moulin Rouge, The Others, The Panic Room? I mean, Dogville, Birth, it's the Stepford Wives, Golden Compass. You may love it or hate that movie, whatever. But she is not only is a bankable actress, but she is one of the most consistently working actresses of the time, not only in the awards circuit, but also involved with the really big productions as well. She's like very consistently working. Not only that, she did win an Oscar, during that time as well. She was nominated for Moulin Rouge, but she also won in 2003 for The Hours. So, she's also an award-winning actress from the decade. But when we talk about Nicole Kidman, when we talk about her most iconic roles, we always talk about movies from that decade in particular. Cold Mountain, The Hours, Moulin Rouge, like I mentioned. These are huge movies from that decade. And so I say yes, Nicole Kidman.
Richard, what do you say about Nicole Kidman?
I'm looking at the list, and it's a yes. The only thing I could think of in the '90s was Batman Forever, which is like, it's just one. It's one movie. So, but
It's
like
one
she was
movie.
in other. She's in other great things in the 2000s. And
Just
she was in one of my favorite low key movies, Bewitched. Even though a lot of people didn't like that movie, I love Bewitched.
Very fun movie.
So
Yeah.
I'm gonna say yes, and the Stepford Wives
movie.
was one that it's a yes for me.
Right,
You can't be nitpicky this much anymore.
yeah. Nicole Kidman is easy yes for me as well. And it's not just because I'm close to Australia at no cost, but
You love it or hate it. Yeah, that movie.
but yeah, like Alex brings up a good point. A lot of her movies that everyone talks about is from that decade, and I'm also one that did not hate The Golden Compass. I really did love what they did with that movie. I kind of wish they did the other books, but I kind of understand it didn't do out the box office, so it did it. But what would you have said about Nicole Kidman?
Let me just show you where Nicole Kidman is on my list. She is number 4 on here. Okay, so that is a yes for Nicole Kidman because not just of her consistent work. I saw a video essay on Nicole Kidman's acting ability on how when she plays characters, she loves to play characters who always have more under the surface or that's wearing a mask in public. And the movies they were using best was The Stepford Wives, Bewitched, Eyes Wide Shut, her performance in the HBO series Little Big Lies, I believe. Yeah. They were just showing that when it comes to Nicole Kidman's acting style, she always likes to show characters that's either hiding something underneath the surface. And most of the movies that was on her 2000s, like Human Thing, Dogville, Birth, The Stepford Wives, Panic Room, they show, and also with The Golden Compass, and even for whatever it was, The Invasion, she's always playing characters that feel as if they're hiding more than what they're telling us. So I guess for Nicole Kidman.
All right, it's back to me for my next nomination. The question is, do I want to make the chat happy and bring up the one name that's been coming up a lot in the chat, or do I want to go someone else?
I
I'm going to try for I'm going to try for someone else. I'm going to bring up Zoe Saldana. This could be a risky move because
Ooh.
she hasn't done she hasn't done a lot in the a lot of big things in the 2000s, but I mean she has had some big roles because she was in Pirates of the Caribbean, she was in Center Stage, Avatar, she was in Guess Who, and
Crossroads.
yeah, Crossroads, and
that's
she got
right.
and the first J.J. Abrams Star Trek got was in this decade as well. So, this is arguably this is where she started to get big. And I mean, people may argue that the other side of the decade is more where she lies, but I'm taking a chance on her here because I think even just by the end of that, I think it's where she started to get bigger. But Ryan, what do you say about Zoe Saldana?
Oh man, that is a tough one too. While some will say they got introduced to her through Pirates of the Caribbean, I was definitely introduced to her through the movie Drumline. Damn, that is a tough one too. Yeah, I would also be some of the people that would argue 2010s was her year as an actress. 2000s, yeah, she was putting in the work. Not just with her small point in the Pirates of the Caribbean movies, but in movies like Crossroads, like Temptation, Guess Who. Oh God, Guess Who? R.P. Bernie Mac. Yeah, she even had a small part in The Terminal, which I definitely enjoyed her little subplot with Tom Hanks. I mean, her romantic subplot that Tom Hanks was involved in. I guess when it comes down to the last spot, I just don't see putting her on there, so I'm going to say a no.
Alex, what do you say about Zoe Saldana?
No. I think it's. I would love for her to be on this, just because looking at the list, we don't have much variety, and I think she's definitely an amazing. I think she's an amazing actress and everything. When I think of Zoe Saldana, I think of almost exclusively of movies from the 2010s. I don't think of movies from the 2000s. So it's, yeah, I want to say yes, but I can't. I really can't. Just based on her filmography, yeah.
Yeah. This is one I knew was a risky pick, but I just wanted to bring her up. But Richard, what would you have said?
I might have gone yes. I mean, she was kind of in 3 franchises in the 2000: Avatar, Pirates, and Star Trek. Even though she was only
she was in one itty bitty smidgen of a role in one of the pirate franchise movies.
It was still originally supposed to be on its own before they decided to make sequels.
But it didn't happen though.
Yeah, I mean, and also, she was also in other good movies. She was also in The Losers, one of my favorite comic book movies in the 2000s, The Losers.
Great.
And
movie.
I mean, again, my vote doesn't count. I probably would have said yes, just because the only problem with Zoe Saldana, she is very forgettable sometimes in the 2000s, kind of like Rosario Dawson, unfortunately. Like, you recognize her, but then you realize, oh yeah, she was in there.
But Ryan, what is your next nomination?
Thankfully, I don't have to look at the chat, so I don't have to feel pressured on what they're recommending. But I am going back and forth on 2 actresses. Both are Academy Award-winning actresses. But I'm going to go with the latter because I kind of like her more than the other. The one I'm nominating is Jennifer Connelly. Now, because we look at her start of the 2000s, she had Waking the Dead, Requirement of a Dream. Then she went on further with A Beautiful Mind. Then she was kind of my favorite. She was my favorite part in the Hulk movie, the Ang Lee Hulk movie. She was in.
Oh yeah.
Then she followed up, and then she was in Blood Diamond. I thought she was also a good part. She was also in Little Children, and then Reservation Road. She was in Ink Hearts, which I liked her in, and then also she was also part of He's Just Not That Into You with a few other actresses we nominated, like Scarlett Johansson, and then also she also was a part of The Day the Earth Stood Still, and while it was a bland movie, it was still something where Jennifer Connelly was like I think she started off very strong in the 2000s, and while you want to argue she kind of waned a little bit, she didn't stop getting work because yes, in 2010 she has more work on her hand, like in maybe small independent movies like Salvation Boulevard, or if you want to look at more bigger movies like Noah or Alita Battle Angel, or now with her upcoming role in Top Gun Maverick, which is 2020 or 2021.
For now.
Yeah, for now. But I'm just saying, because if you look at Jennifer Connelly at the start of the 2000s, she came out strong, and I still think of her. I still think of some movies in the 2000s I would immediately think of her in.
I mean, you forgot her greatest role in the 2010s as Suit Lady in Spider-Man: Homecoming, but
Karen? Oh yeah.
Alex, what do you say about Jennifer Connelly?
I'm looking at it, checking out her filmography, and I haven't seen half of those movies that she's in. I mean, like, don't get me wrong, Hulk, Beautiful Mind, and Requiem for a Dream, but a lot of the other movies that she's in, like Inkheart, The Day the Earth Stood Still, Little Children, are not well-known movies. Even like some of the more like in the awards conversation, like Little Children with Kate Winslet and some other movies. I just don't think, a lot of her movies, aside from Hulk and A Beautiful Mind, I don't feel like she's I don't want to say recognizable actress. She's obviously very recognizable. I just don't think they're very well-known movies. So I don't think any of her movies are really defining of the decade, and let alone her role in those movies are defining of the decade either.
Richard, what do you say about
Jennifer Connelly? Not gonna lie, I've only seen one Jennifer Connelly movie, and that was Hulk in that decade, and that's just I gotta go. No,
never seen Requiem for a Dream?
I have not. I have the soundtrack on my iPod. I just have never seen it. So unfortunately, I have to say no because I've only seen one movie she's in. Okay. That's just me being horrible in movies when it comes to me seeing movies.
Yeah, I mean, Jennifer Connelly would have been a no for me as well. Well, I do think it's a good pick. Just looking at her movies in the 2000s, it's one of those ones I think she's got a bit of the similar Kate Winslet argument there, where she's in a few recognizable movies, but a lot of them, if you would be talking to someone who's not really into movies, they're not going to have heard of some of those movies. But okay. But Richard, we go back to you for your next nomination.
Okay, I think this is probably my best pick I've had in a long time. I'm going with Angelina Jolie. You have the Tomb Raider franchise. You have Wanted. You have Mr. and Mrs. Smith. You have Kung Fu Panda. You have The Fever. You have Sky Captain: The World of Tomorrow. Beowulf. Gone in 60 Seconds. She was in a lot of things in the 2000s. A lot of memorable. If Salt was 2009, it'd be even better, but it's 2010. But again, I mean, A Mighty Heart, The Good Shepherd. So that's going to be my nomination, Angelina Jolie. She's been in a lot of things in like other decades, but I feel like some of her best was in the 2000s.
Yep. And this is where the chat goes happy, because this is the one they've been going needs to be on here. This is one that I do, just looking at filmography, she's in a lot of great stuff and really recognizable all for, because even the Tomb Raider, Alexander, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, is enough. Yeah, I'm gonna say yes. So, Ryan, what do you say about Angelina Jolie?
I'm gonna have to ask you to come back to me because I'm still trying to put it together in my head. Come back to me.
Oh, good. Alex, what do you say about Angelina Jolie?
How many slots do we have left?
One.
This is the last slot.
Can we rearrange some things? Is that not in the conversation at all? Why not? Why not?
I have asked him.
We're allowed to change our minds. You are the creator.
He has
No, I mean,
been
like-
through this so many times. Trust me, Alex. I have tried to convince him to remove a few so we can add on others.
Because
There's
I'm
been
sorry, but Dakota Fanning and Queen Latifah should not be in this list after reviewing everything. I'm just kidding. I actually love Queen Latifah. She's amazing. She's one of my favorites of all time. I'm kidding with her. But Dakota Fanning should not be on this list right now. But also I vote yes. But I do because of that, I do not want to have some of the other actors involved. Like I would love to take off Rachel McAdams. And
You mean my only other pick that I got on here? Thanks.
I didn't know
Appreciate
that. I didn't know that. I love Rachel McAdams. I do. Dakota Fanning does not deserve to be in the same conversation of defining actresses of the decade as Reese Witherspoon or Queen Latifah or Nicole Kidman. Dakota Fanning was barely making movies, not even notable movies. By comparison, I mean, come on.
If I had dominated her like middle of the list, then she would have been no. But
I
the
know.
fact
I'm like low-key cute off now.
I know. I generally thought it was going to be a no all around when I nominated her because I just thought I wanted to get a child actress on this list. And thinking about it, maybe I should have gone with Abigail Breslin.
But anyway, this is a suggestion box. I've got every suggestion that people have asked me I should do for Rankin. I'll look at that tomorrow and maybe make changes from next week. But for now, this is what we're sitting. But and Angelina is making this list. Why? What you said?
I went back on her IMDb a lot, and I loved the Tomb Raider movies. Big fan of the Tomb Raider movies. I remember her performance in Taking Lives and Original Sin, and I was just going through all of them through the back of my head and outweighing some of the good and bad though, and she did tip the scales because mainly for The Good Shepherd and Changeling, and of course. For Kung Fu Panda, so it would have been eventually a yes.
But with that, we do come to the end of the nomination process.
Could I toss an extra name out there real quick? I know it's not going to happen, but I'm just going to toss it out just in case.
Well, we do honorable mentions here.
Oh, we do? Okay, never mind.
Yeah.
Of course. Forgot about that. Okay, never mind.
I mean, Alex, I'll get you for your honorable mentions.
Okay, so Kirsten Dunst. Holy shnikes. Crazy Beautiful. The Spider-Man movies. I mean, come on. It's so ridiculous. Wimbledon, Eternal Spotless. That one, the Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. I swear that name is going to kill me. Everything that she's done with, Sofia Coppola at the time with Marie Antoinette, Elizabethtown. I mean, regardless of how you may feel about, she at that time, she's really coming into her footing as an actress and picking her a lot of really unique projects, which I really adore. I swear, if a fly goes into my mouth right now.
Oh, I've been buzzing off
for the third time in a week. That might happen.
Those flies are bastards.
So I was on doing mornings with Roka yesterday, and one literally flew into my nose midstream, and I was like,
they could see that.
It was really awful. It was real fun.
But Richard, did you have any honorable mentions there?
Amanda Siegfried, though a lot of her stuff was great stuff with 2010s, but she had a lot of good stuff in the 2000s. I had Elizabeth Banks and Amy Adams. They had a good stuff in the 2000s, but they're very stuff in 2010. Lucy Liu, I thought about.
I had Lucy Liu on my.
I had Uma Thurman, but I remember one of her major iconic roles were 90s. That's why I kind of left her off. But Uma Thurman, had the Kill Bills, had my super crazy ex-girlfriend, Producers, Be Cool, and Helen Bonham Carter. That she's in everything Tim Burton, regardless.
I mean, for me, some of my mentions I had was I had Hilary Swank on my mine. One that I was considering her so many times bringing up, but she only really had one defining role in the 2000s. I didn't think it was going to be enough to get it on because 2010s is more her. It was Emma Watson. Like she was basically Hermione all the 2000s with tail of
Yeah, she had one voice acting other than Harry Potter. It was that
Desro
anime
just
one.
thrown in the middle there somewhere.
Yeah.
But it's one of those ones I chose to leave it off because 2010s is more for her. I did consider bringing out Meryl Streep at one point, but it's like once again, it's like she's in every decade. So, but yeah, Ryan, did you have any honorable mentions there?
Oh boy, do I. I had a few common like Lucy Liu, Uma Thurman. I also had Amy Adams as well. I had Renee Zellweger on my honorable mentions. Abigail Breslin. I had Rachel Weisz, mainly her performances in the Mummy franchises.
The Mummy was from '99. The Mummy was from '99.
Okay, The Mummy Returns.
Sorry. I'm like,
no, that's okay. Don't worry about that. Yeah, I mean, just also she was part of Constantine. I also had I'm not gonna list them all off, but I also had Regina King, Kerry Washington, but they didn't get more prominent until the 2010s. I also had Liv Tyler, but to be honest, the 90s was more of her time. And I also did have Kirsten Dunst as well. I had Halle Berry, but after Monsters Ball and Die Another Day, she started to dip, so I didn't include her. I had Viola Davis, but she was more of a supporting actress during the 2000s. Yeah. Diane Kruger from her time in from Diane Kruger from both the National Treasure movies, in Wicker Park, and Inglourious Bastards. So just a couple to name off.
But yeah, now we get to the fun part. We're ranking them. We're going to write down on a bit of paper or whiteboard or whatever you've got handy to decide who we find. And I think I know where this first one's going. But because I've already got mine written down. But I've got Dakota Fanning for 12. Richard.
Dakota Fanning.
Alex.
Obviously, it's Dakota Fanning. Come on.
Ryan.
Get out of here.
It doesn't matter. Dakota's on the list. Number 12.
I even had the banner all written out, all prepared because I knew that was where it was going to go. But now we go on to 11.
Ooh. I'm looking at the list.
Okay.
Someone's jamming out in the background. I'm digging it.
But yeah, I'm going to go to Richard first. Richard, who
This
do you
was
have for 11?
I said Julianne Moore.
Alex.
I had Rachel McAdams.
Ryan.
Yeah, I too had Rachel McAdams.
I also had Rachel McAdams.
All right.
Keep in mind, I really do love Rachel McAdams.
Two of her movies have outshined half these people on this list. Mean Girls and The Notebook have outshined anything Nicole Kidman has done. Just saying.
Oh,
damn, Richard! We're gonna have to step back in the debate ring again. Richard,
we need to talk about Moulin Rouge being one of the most.
No one talks about Moulin Rouge anymore.
Who doesn't talk about Moulin Rouge?
No one has. This is the 20th anniversary of Moulin Rouge coming out. The 10th anniversary of Moulin Rouge.
It did, and it was a thriving success. Not to mention, it's one of the best, musicals on Broadway plan. Not right now, technically, but versus The Mean Girls, wasn't considered a huge success as a Broadway musical.
Yeah.
But anyway, Alex, who do you have for 10?
Oh, can you skip me real quick?
Yeah.
Right.
I picked Reese Witherspoon.
I hint Julianne Moore. Richard.
Julianne Moore.
Alex.
I had Reese Witherspoon.
Which means we've got a tie. So chat. The first one that I see will be the tie-breaking vote. but it's between Reese Witherspoon and Julianne Moore. I almost said Julianne Hough, but
let's not get that confused.
I don't know what she was doing in the 2000s.
It's my turn. Sorry.
Well, no, we're still waiting for the tiebreaker.
We're waiting on someone from the chat to break the tie.
But I don't actually see anything. But so my other one is
if
getting.
you like, it doesn't matter to me. I mean, either way, like, I don't mind switching my vote to Reese Witherspoon if that's the problem.
Well, I was about to say, the comments just come up. Julianne Moore is the one that there, because that's the first one that is on there. So Julianne Moore is going to be at number 10.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. Okay, so she's off the list, off the list. Okay.
All right, Ryan, what do you have for 9?
I'm still sticking with Reese Witherspoon.
Alex.
Queen Latifah.
Richard.
Reese Witherspoon.
Yeah, Reese with a knife. I mean, with a spoon. But Reese with a spoon is going to be at 9. All right. Just to recap who we've got left, we've got Kate Blanchett, Queen Latifah, Keira Knightley, Anne Hathaway, Tilda Swinton, Sandy B, Nicole Kidman, and Angelina Jolie. Richard?
I have Queen Latifah.
I've also got Queen Latifah. Ryan?
Yeah, I was writing her down. I just had to be. I had to say it, Queen Latifah.
Sorry. I love her.
Yeah, she's
No,
great.
yeah,
But I'm just saying. No, I mean, just looking at the list we have here, she's not really top 5.
Richard, who do you have for?
I chose Keira Knightley.
Alex.
Nicole Kidman.
Ryan.
Oh no, I said Kate Blanchett.
Ooh, way off. All of us.
Now the question is it going to be a 4-way tie, or do I have one of the 3? But yeah, I went to Kate Blanchett just because I do like her, but I think everyone goes to Lord of the Rings. I think a lot of her other roles do tend to slide under the radar a lot of the time.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's one of those ones like she's in the top 12, and yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean, I had to admit to myself, I mean, I like Benjamin Button and I like both the Elizabeth movies, but yeah, one was in the 90s, the other one came out in 2000s, and yeah. Okay, one here. Okay. Yeah.
This just hurts my heart, guys. This is like.
Oh, you should have seen us rank. You should have seen us ranking 80s
rough.
comedies.
I can't.
But Alex, who do you have for 6?
Anne Hathaway.
Richard?
I still have Keira Knightley.
I've also got Keira Knightley. Ryan?
I said Nicole Kidman.
Son of a. But this is ridiculous.
I mean, if Alex kept Nicole Kidman, it would have gone to the chat to make the time.
Yeah, again. To be honest, it may go to the chat again, depending on what we pick for number 5.
I've probably spelled her name wrong, but
No, it's right, actually. Yeah, you got it right.
Is that a White Claw, Ryan? What flavor? Is that mango?
Yeah,
Yes. Do you like the newer flavors or some of the older flavors better?
I'm trying to remember the newer ones I had.
There's like
Actually,
tangerine, watermelon, and
yes.
lemon.
Watermelon. I think there was also a key lime, or was it different kind of, or was it plain?
but Ryan, who do you have for 5?
I stuck with her, Nicole Kidman. Oh shit.
Alex.
Sticking with Anne Hathaway.
Richard.
Wait, who was left? So I was trying to.
Nicole Kidman, Angelina Jolie, Sandy B, Tilda Swinton, and Anne Hathaway.
Oh, I had my right choice, but it was still. I had Julianne Moore.
Oh.
Whoops. Yeah.
I mean, out of those 5, who do you want at 5?
Okay. I really can't vote for myself. So, what was your choices again? Let me hear your guys' choices again.
Well, I mean, I was about to say my choice is Anne Hathaway.
Anne Hathaway, Nicole Kidman, and what was your choice?
Alex had
Anne Hathaway.
Anne Hathaway.
Oh,
Okay. So Anne Hathaway is the winner, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, you could have seen Nicole Kidman forced into the chat.
Yeah.
No. It was still Julianne Moore, in my opinion. So I was trying to because now I'm trying to go not necessarily acting, but still memorable.
But
Yeah,
anyway,
I
we've
get
got Tilda Swinton, Nicole Kidman, Sandra Bullock, and Angelina Jolie left.
Oh no, I'm sorry.
This is going to hurt me.
I don't know. It's so hard.
This one hurts. This one's gonna hurt me a lot.
Nope. Guys, no.
Okay.
No.
What?
Don't do what I think you're going to do. Do not do it. Do not.
Alex, who?
What to do?
Alex, who?
Nicole Kidman.
Richard.
Nicole Kidman.
Oh, thank God.
Nicole Kidman.
No, yeah. I was going to write Angelina Jolie, but then I realized, you know what, Nicole.
Sweet baby Jesus.
I don't know if Angelina was the one that she was worried about. But we've got Sandra.
I know who she was worried about, and it wasn't. I was gonna put Angelina, but then I was comparing both Nicole and Angelina, and Angelina had more profile roles in 2000 compared to Nicole Kidman. Yeah, she had some good. Nicole had early 2000s, but Angelina just kept getting some more profile ones later.
But we've got Nicole, Sandy. No, we don't. We've got Angelina, Sandy, and Tilda.
And
Richard.
And Julianne Moore.
We did, yeah.
And Julianne Moore. She's still there.
No, wait. Haven't we? Was Sandra Bullock was? I thought was taken.
No. Sandra Bullock is still on there. 3
So
left.
it's Swinton, Bullock, Blanchett, and Jolie.
No. Swinton, Bullock, and Jolie.
Oh, we already did Kate Blanchett.
Oh, where did Julianne Moore? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
You must really like her. Richard.
I don't remember Julianne Moore now. That's the problem.
Which is like, I don't want to accept
Jolie,
the fact that she's low down.
Okay.
No. Richard, it's Sandy B, Jolie, and Swinton.
Oh, okay. Jolie.
Kidman is number 4.
Bullock,
That's why you see your name on there.
Swinton.
Malcolm,
Okay.
I think whenever you do this, I should list them actively in the banner so we know.
Yeah.
So we,
I have them
Okay.
just like all down here.
I usually write them down. I just was lazy today, so that's
no,
my problem.
just like we're hearing a lot of names
Yeah.
rotation, so it's easy to get them mixed up between what has been marked up and what hasn't, and which one we should do.
Oh
and
yeah.
So it's just
100%.
easy to get them mixed up.
Yeah, no, that's fair. That's fair.
Okay, I got my choice. The right choice.
Yes,
Okay.
sir. Julie,
Ryan, who do you have for 3?
Jolie, Angelina Jolie.
Alex,
Sandy Bullock.
Richard.
Ooh.
I have Tilda Swinton. I was
Ooh.
doing more who has memorable roles right now, and out of these three, Tilda has the least memorable roles in the 2000s. That was my choice.
Okay.
That's my opinion.
I'm sorry, Alex, but I've got to put Tilda as well.
You're hurting my heart.
Oh!
You're hurting my heart, Malcolm.
She's a phenomenal actress. Don't get me wrong.
Tilda had some more profile though.
She's number 3.
Yeah, but and this time instead of putting number 2, we're going to do number 1, just because the other one becomes 2 by default.
Yeah.
And it's between Sandy B and Angelina Jolie. And Richard, who do you have for number 1?
Even though I chose Jolie as one of my nominations, Sandra Bee has the more memorable roles in the 2000s, in my opinion.
Alex,
Sandy B.
Ryan.
Tilda was originally going to be my number 1, but you took her. But now that she's here, and I just had a coaching session with Clark Wolf, so yes, Sandy B.
I also went Sandy B. Were you unanimous?
And that leaves one of my favorite actresses up in here for number 1, almost.
No, this was number 1. Oh, right? Oh,
That leaves Angelina Jolie as number 1, right? If Sandy,
Angelina Jolie. We just picked who is number 1 right now.
Oh, I thought we just did number 2.
No.
I think Angelina Jolie should be number 1, being on box office alone. But Sandy B, Sandra Bullock, should be number 2.
Well,
Did I misunderstand this entire voting process?
Well, I mean, you probably misunderstood what I said. I said we're going to put it down at number 1s for this one because the one that's left out of the top.
Okay, can I reverse that? Because Angelina Jolie should have been number 1.
Richard Malcolm, I did pick Sandy for number 1.
I misunderstood.
Yeah.
I misunderstood that.
I mean, you can change it to Angelina Jolie if you want, but I mean,
yeah, I wouldn't change it.
But it doesn't change where she's going to fall because me, Richard, and Ryan would have still gone Sandra B regardless. But anyway, just to recap the 12 decade-defining actresses, we got Dakota Fanning at 12. At 11, we got Rachel McAdams. At 10, we got Julianne Moore. At 9, we got Reese Witherspoon. At 8, we got Queen Latifah. At 7, we got Kate Blanchett. At 6, we got Keira Knightley. At 5, we got Anne Hathaway. At 4, we got Nicole Kidman. At 3, we got Tilda Swinton. At 2, we got Angelina Jolie. And number 1, we got Sandra Bullock.
It would have been funny if Alex kept her number 1, just like Sandra Bullock, because we couldn't agree on who got last and who got first. Everything else in between.
But also, Stephen agrees with Alex as well. But
Angelina Jolie is by far the most bankable actress of the 2000s. Absolutely. I mean, almost all of her movies are huge box office successes, and as far as so I mean, not only that, she's also one of the most consistently working actresses of the time versus Sandra Bullock. She definitely has a lot of very notable movies, obviously, but she definitely, fell off the wagon as far as popularity. It's like
she started doing more producing definitely around the 2000s, and some of her movies did fall off, but at the same time, Sandy's roles in the 2000s really did stick with her throughout her career. I mean, with Angelina, bankable actress, and I could say the same with Reese Witherspoon and Kate Blanchett and Nicole Kidman. They were bankable actresses as well. I'm not trying to disagree with you, but yeah, as your number one, it would make more sense with Angelina.
I will say I actually kind of disagree with you as far as Kate Blanchett goes, because outside of the Lord of the Rings franchise, how many of her movies are considered huge box office successes that are comparable to Jolie's?
Well, I mean, a lot of Jolie's movies are like comic book movies, though, too,
Yeah,
and video game movies.
No. We're mainly talking in the 2000s alone.
Yeah,
Wanted and the Tomb Raiders, video game and comic book movie.
Only one of those movies was Wanted is definitely a comic book movie that was more of a success. People didn't realize it was a comic book movie at the time, so I don't feel like versus like you can market it as a comic book movie like anything in MCU or like Spider-Man or something like that. You can market it as the comic book movie, but no one knew that the Wanted was a comic book movie and it wasn't marketed as such. And also with Tomb Raider, that was more of a video game movie than anything. And it didn't.
I said video game movies.
Yeah, but I mean, it wasn't a popular, like it didn't do super well. It was considered it was actually considered a box office failure at the time. She was awesome, but it was considered a box office failure.
But the second one was more considered a failure. The first one, it did make back some of it. It made back some profit.
Yeah, but if you want to talk about profit margins, though, a movie's not considered profitable unless it makes like 70% of not only how much it made, but if you have to like triple that plus marketing in order for it can be considered a success in box office.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. I consider it as long as it gets over breaking even. To me, I think you make some profit. But yeah, it's studio.
Marketing is that they don't take in consideration the marketing though.
I mean, also when it comes to like during the time of video game movies, only one video game movie kind of made its money at the time, which was Pokemon, the first movie. Not gonna lie,
that was my first theater.
All the other video game movies kind of.
Yeah.
But anyway,
sorry, Malcolm.
It's all good. That does bring us to the end of this. I'll have a poll up in the Take Free chat for the options for next week. As Alex gets given a cat on stream. But Alex, where can people find you online?
Right there on Twitter. Right there. On Twitter right there at @real_Alex Mack. You can also find me being part of the Call to Action crew at Call to Action Podcast, where I co-host a show called Schmobates. I also do mornings with Roka on Mondays and on Fridays. And the mornings talk about movie news. And on every Tuesday, I chat with Video Drew diving into our personal movie biases called Cinema Bias. Check that out on her channel. It's a fun time. And we have fun talking about our personal biases for or against movies, essentially.
Richard, where can people find you online?
They can find me on Facebook under Richard Schwartz, YouTube and Twitter under External Void, and me stuck at home in LA because, quarantine life. Yay.
And Ryan, where can people find you online?
Well, whenever you want to bring me back for another Rankum list, people can find me here. I'm definitely going to take regarding Rankum. People can also check out my letterbox, Valentine 316. I'm just slowly putting together my own personal bias on certain movies. I'm going to, what I can get people to let you know, I'm going to put up a ranking list, my own personal rank list of all the Harry Potter and all the Star Trek movies, and then I'm going to upload on some movies I recently just saw last week, like I'm Not Your Negro, Last Black Man in San Francisco. I watched a couple of 80s movies. Like, I don't know if people have heard of this, but they're called FX and FX2, The Deadly Art of Illusion. So I'm going to throw my 2 cents in. And then also a couple of Natalie Portman movies. So.
And you can find me on Take 3 Productions hosting Late Night Take 3. Late Night Take 3 will be on a break next week because we'll be over on Doug's Twitch channel celebrating his birthday. But Rankin will be here next week. The topic will be whatever wins the poll, which I'll be putting up in a bit. And you can also find me over on Full Metal, hosting Full Metal Classic and Full Metal Random. But until next time, keep listening shit.